Start to wrap it up. And acknowledge your partner. Okay, so all right, so the first four sessions we've looked at where and when breakdowns happen. So, great, they happen in the past, and then where, okay, exists with me, okay. Now we want to look at how they occur and how they occur on the court. So, when you're dealing with a breakdown, how does it occur for you? Like, what's actually happening for you? If you look, like, there I am, I'm at work, and this person says this. Yeah, George, stand up. So,
angry and frustrated.
And then, but how does it like occur? So you're angry and frustrated, but how does like, what's a breakdown that you can say real quick?
I work harder.
Okay. Or like what's a breakdown? Like something.
Job, just not making enough money.
Okay, not making enough money.
See my end of the month. See my end of the month, and it's just like didn't come together again.
Yeah. Okay. Didn't come together again. Okay. Good. And then how does that occur? Like okay, so it didn't come together again. I'm not making enough money. And then what else? I'm angry, frustrated, and then how else does it occur?
I start beating myself up. I didn't do enough for that month.
Yeah.
I could have done more.
Yeah.
Who's doing better? I start hire producers.
Brilliant. Brilliant. There it is. And it's like I occur for myself this way. Not good. They're good. All the comparison.
Right.
Brilliant. Awesome. Thank you. To acknowledge George. And then what else? How else does it occur for you? What's another example? Yeah, Denise, stand up, please.
Not getting everything done that I needed to do to take care of my patients.
Okay.
I wound up in the parking lot. I worked overnights in the
Yeah.
acute care center. And 2 nights in a row, I was really frustrated. I was really upset because I felt like I couldn't get everything done in time to take care of all my patients.
Yeah,
And
got the breakdown. So then how does it occur for you?
I wound up in the parking lot falling my head.
And you're bawling your head off. What's the occurring? Like I'm a bad person, or this is all screwed up?
Yeah, I'm not capable of doing my job properly. I'm not capable of taking care of these patients.
Mm-hmm.
Just not believing in my own capabilities.
Yeah.
And it took me another day to figure out, you're beating up on yourself, don't do that, you can
Yeah.
only do so much.
Yeah.
And you only have so much time.
Yeah.
So do what you can and do the best you can.
Okay, good.
And let
Okay, good. Okay, good. So there, we could get that occurring of that breakdown, like how it occurs is, like there's something wrong with me, and maybe even there's other people that can get this done, but I can't.
right.
And then, you know, maybe some other version of I've screwed up or I didn't do a good job, and blah, blah, blah. And then another occurring of it's all gonna be okay, or like a way that you make it okay. Like, okay, there's not enough time, it's not even possible to get all that done. You try to like resolve it, just let it go. Like there's, you know, it occurs like that, right? Okay, perfect, brilliant.
Basically, what I was doing was I was comparing myself to someone else who had been in my job for 20 years.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Oh. Yeah. There's me, just started a new job. There's them, 20 years. I should be able to be doing what they're doing. No, but I got it. I got it. We're all laughing out of recognition. We get it.
yes.
Yeah.
You know, but it took me
Don't try to fix it.
24 hours to stop kicking
Yeah.
myself in the butt to realize, okay, get
Yeah.
together.
I got it.
So,
All right, good. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So, oh, yeah, Esty.
I just wanted to say something.
Yes.
I was looking on the Facebook news feed earlier today,
Yep.
and I was reading something,
Mhm.
and there was one picture that came up that showed, it showed two different pictures side by side. One picture was of a girl that had taken a selfie of herself, and she looked pretty thin in that photo. And then in the second photo is another picture of the girl taking a selfie of herself on sitting down on the, sitting down, and you can see her fat rolls and you can see her thighs, the fat on her thighs, because she's sitting down. So we showed these, so you could see those two different pictures, these two shapes of women, these two girls. So one shows her normal self, her real self, if you will, and one shows the other self, but it's the same girl, you know? So I think that it shows a different perspective, you know?
Yeah.
Like how people they show, like for example, like you upload pictures, people upload pictures of themselves that make them feel confident. You know, you know what I'm talking about?
Of course I do. I look awesome on Facebook. I'm just as full of it as everybody else. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that helped me to realize that this applies to not just to photos, but also to your stories and everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about perspective. And it really helped me realize to really take a look at perspective, and that everybody has a different perspective. You know, that picture really did help me, and
Yeah.
really helped me understand this on a deeper level.
Awesome. So awesome. Thank you. You know, and I'll jump out of this conversation for a second, but there's, this weekend, the whole program, and I mean, this is how Landmarks work. We've been, you know, had a research design and development team for, I think, since it began. But there's so much work that's been done over the last 10, 20 years with this education, with neuroscience. And the one thing that neuroscience has concluded is that the only way for a human being to start taking new actions, you know, because you got to get that this isn't really a realm that neuroscience has dwelled in until this work. And I'm not saying that lightly. I'm saying that that's been the case, because most neuroscience is looking at how does the brain work. Oh, interesting. So it's just these neurons, one's activated, this one's activated, and they're either activated, deactivated, and then they, you know, kind of go bing, 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 you know, like interact with each other. oh, that's cool, that's fascinating. It makes no difference in my life, like that, knowing that that's what's going on with my brain. But they haven't looked at, okay, what's the way to impact people? What's the way to impact performance? Rather than here's a pill that'll make you feel better, or here's something like this that's gonna, whatever, or an interesting fact. But that this education, or anyway, that the only way to impact the action of a human being is to change the way in which the world occurs to them. Now, obviously, it's been said a little bit different, but it's to change the view of life. And it really had me look at, I don't know much stuff out there that's in the business of context. And that's all this is, just like Esty pointed to, this landmark is in the business of context. And that's the only way, proven by neuroscience, to really alter the way that a human being operates. Context. Like your life 2 months ago, or 6 months ago, or 10 years ago, or whenever you did the forum, you had a view that everything in my life is the way it is. And this means this means that means that, this means this, my mom is this way, I am this way. And then you got a context of, whew, maybe it doesn't mean all that. Maybe my life really is empty and meaningless, and I can just create. It's a new context. And then you keep engaging and practicing in the work, and you keep altering that context. And altering the context. Now, you want to look more, there's been contexts that are different. I get that. Like the world occurred one way, then it occurs a different way, or, there's life before 9/11, life after 9/11, there's high school shootings, there's things that have happened in your life that have got a different context. Or I like to look at sports. There's a context of, the Colorado Rockies this year. There's a context of them last year. There's a context of the Broncos. There's all the context. But you want to get the context of what it means to be a human being. Which is pretty crazy, because nobody really looks there. But if you look at what it meant for you to be a human being before the Landmark Forum, there was a different meaning. And I can vividly remember before I did the Landmark Forum, I remember sitting with one of my friends and he said, life is all about being better than the next guy. I was like, okay. But I had some version of life is really about being better. I never examined it. I have no idea what my view really was, but I just knew I didn't like people, and a lot of people are jerks, and I just need to make a bunch of money to tell people to screw off and get off my back. That was really my life. But now to look at what is it to be a human being? What does it mean to be a human being? You could inquire into that. Not draw a conclusion with it, but really. And that's what we're saying that this work is. Of altering the being of human being. What if your life wasn't about looking good and avoiding looking bad? What if your life wasn't about being right or making things wrong? What if? So, thank you, Esty, for opening that up. But this is just the magic of the work of maybe. And I will say, I know it made a difference. Jill had pointed out on our group leader call that it made a difference for her when she was looking at sharing with her mom, and I said, look, I've had thousands of conversations like this, of restoring something with somebody, or cleaning something up. Thousands. Probably hundreds just with my wife alone. At least, maybe hundreds with my parents. But there's a way I knew that I was before the forum. And then there's a way in what I see possible now. I am crystal clear that for me, and I would take it's the same for all of us, but there's a way that you were for yourself before the forum, there's a way you are for yourself now. And I can see the magic of, oh my God, human being could alter, like we could alter the planet. Pretty bold. Will it happen? I don't know. It's worth playing. Because I can tell you, I've transformed money before. I went $60,000 in debt to, $250,000 sitting in the bank debt free, and this is awesome, and, I did that pretty quick. It was hollow. My experience of life wasn't much different other than buying a lot of stuff, but it was hollow. It didn't have that fulfillment, and nothing wrong with it. I'm all for making money. I spend a lot of my time wanting to make more and more and more and more and more and all of that, or improving my circumstances and all of that. But just to confront for yourself and actually examine, like, really, what is my life for? Who am I? And I think that that's the magical inquiry for us as human beings. That's the magic of this work. It's just, and I don't say magic flippantly or loosely. I really mean magic. Like, I am interested in what's going to happen with Jason and his mom. It's going to be magic. And if you come back next week, you didn't take any action, or you fell flat on your face, cool. That's session 6. We're going to cause that by session 10. Now, we don't have to wait that long, and, putting you on the line now, so definitely get it done.
Okay, you got 2 weeks.
Right? Just be reasonable tomorrow, Wednesday, don't take action. Really let it hang a little bit for your mom. Let that incompletion be there. Just kidding. Watch out for fires. There's a fire. Okay, so you guys get that, or you got whatever you got from that. We got to get back on this conversation now. So let's get back into presence. Denise shared. Who else shared a great breakdown? George. Hi. You shared a great breakdown. You got in the world of how those occurred. Now consider that, okay, breakdowns happen when the past. Where? With me. How they occur is they occur as a threat to you. When a breakdown is happening, it occurs as a threat. You can just look in your life. A good part of our reaction to breakdowns is to make sure that in some way we survive this threat. Let me work harder. Let me just make myself wrong. This is really good. I just really am not good enough. Cool, that will keep me safe. They occur as a threat. And the problem is that in the face of that, what we're calling a perceived threat, we immediately experience a loss of power. Now, if you get in the face of the breakdowns, it's like we're thrown into being upset. When there is a threat, it's like we just become upset about this. We don't have the power, and when we lack the power, we become upset. So the third element in being powerful in the face of breakdowns is developing your ability to dismantle upsets and live an upset-free life. And you can really get the world of it. Like, if I'm working hard, I'm working from an upset. Or like George said, he's comparing himself. There's an upset that it's like it's thrown into that. Yeah, that when we are dealing with that breakdown, we are in the face of something. And on the court, as lived, not conceptually later on, but you can look at it and get that, yeah, I was upset. But in that moment, you are not present. You are dealing with something's wrong. And there's a way, you have a charge to it. And we're calling that an upset. Yes? Yeah. Stand up. where you get triggered and now you're upset.
Right,
Something happens,
okay.
I got triggered.
Just wanted to make sure it's clear.
Yeah, yeah. Now, you can look at upset as a very broad, this is like a broad sense. Basically, if you're not present, you're being upset. Now, being upset robs us of power, and the breakdown seems to just get worse. And you simply can't be upset and be powerful. It gets worse, guys. It gets worse. You can be upset and you can be forceful, though. We've made stuff happen being upset. But force doesn't equal power. And by power, we mean the rate at which you can bring your word, your possibilities, and your commitments into reality. And I promise you this. In my years, of really, it could take 7 years of really being engaged in this work. And when I say this, by the rate at which you can bring your word, your possibilities, and your commitments into reality, it would take me 6 months or 4 months. And that was the rate that I could operate at to make something happen. Other things, of course, were quicker and all of that, but it just decreased and decreased and decreased into weeks, days, hours, now it's minutes. I could get off it right away now. I didn't have that capability. But this is what we mean by this distinction. Power begins, by power, we mean the rate at which you can bring your word, your possibilities, and your commitments into reality. Just like Jill shared. It's taken her, 3 months or months since the forum, whenever you did the forum, to have that conversation with your mom. You've had some, but the possibility, a real possibility, took months. And then she gets off the phone and boom, stand-up comedy happened, boom, calling other people. That rate of velocity has decreased. I don't think that's an accurate way to say that, right? The rate of the velocity increased, the amount of time that it took decreased to make stuff happen. So here's the thing. Power begins with being present to what's so. Upset people are never present to what's so, and are always reacting to the past. Now we have a dilemma. Upset people are never powerful. Let me say this again. This is the problem, guys. Upset people are never powerful, and people are always upset. I know. And the dilemma gets worse. To be someone who is causing and expanding breakthroughs requires you to live an upset-free life. It's like you're going to live a life of breakthroughs and you're upset. Now, you can't, if you're going to live a life of breakthroughs, you cannot tolerate being upset. If you want to live a life of power in the face of breakdowns, you have to be someone who takes on a life of being upset-free. Now, living from this possibility of being upset-free requires 2 things. First, a commitment to give up being upset. And you really got to get straight about it. You have to get straight about it. Sometimes we just like being right. And in that mode of being right, we're not really confronting the impact that this has. We could use Jason and Jill graciously this whole time, but Jason, he was more committed to being right, and he could put up with not having that fulfilling relationship, not having what's possible. But if you've got a commitment to giving up being upset, then you can now deal with the second piece, which is we've got a powerful methodology for dismantling upsets rapidly and permanently. So we're going to deal with a powerful methodology for living an upset-free life. That's number 2. So at first glance, an upset-free life seems impossible. But having to be upset in life just seems like the way it is because people are clueless about the nature of upsets. What keeps people being upset is that they are unclear about the mechanism at the source of the upset. But when you get clear about the nature of upsets, you see that it is possible to live an upset-free life. And if I ask you why you get upset, what you will give me are all the stories and explanations of why you're upset. Well, I don't have, I didn't make the amount of money I wanted to make, and I see these guys making more money and doing more, and it's the end of the month, and I got this. Or my mom has this mouth. No, you have to get this mouth. It makes her gossipy. So consider that none of those stories and explanations about why you are upset has anything to do with your upset. Contrary to what you may think, when you get upset, there are only three things at play. What is always at play when you're upset is that you have A, a thwarted intention. I'll say more about these. A, a thwarted intention. B, an unfulfilled expectation. Like I just started my job, but I should be as good as somebody who's 20 years in. Or C, an undelivered communication. Can we repeat that, please? Yeah, and I'll go through these. I'll say this. A thwarted intention means you are stopped in being able to fulfill something you are committed to. When your intentions get thwarted, you get upset. Thwarted. C-H. I never knew that word until I first read this seminar a few years ago. Learning. Sidetrack. So I'm with you. So when your intentions get thwarted, you get upset. Next, an unfulfilled expectation means that you expect something to happen and it doesn't. When you relate to something as though it should happen and then it doesn't, you get upset. Maybe you've had those conversations with your boss, or people you work with, or your children, or your parents. Something happens. You get upset. They're supposed to be great. I really was cleaned up how I've been with them. I restored integrity with them. They should be happy. They should be doing everything I want them to do. An undelivered communication. An undelivered communication means that you have something to say that you aren't saying. When you have something to say and you don't say it, you get upset. So I want to hear from a couple people. Where do you see you have been upset from thwarted intentions or undelivered communications or unfulfilled expectations? Yeah, Chad. Stand up, please.
So I actually just experienced this a couple days ago, and it started with the self-expression.
I can't hear it.
Can you come to the mic, please? I expected to hear Chad, and I can't.
So I just started the self-expression and leadership program on Saturday,
Yep.
and I experienced one of these breakdowns in the class with another person in the class.
Yeah.
It kind of expectedly, because it's a 12-hour class, and I was trying to juggle work during the class.
Yeah.
And he called me out on texting during the class, and I immediately snapped at him by saying I'm working.
Yeah.
And I realized I had a new act. So my original act is I felt like don't hurt me was my act.
Yeah.
And then I discovered that don't tell me what to do is another act. And I sat there and made up 100 stories as I'm sitting next to this person. Like, screw this guy, I don't want to deal with him, whatever, he doesn't know, blah, blah. And when the time was right, like 5 minutes later, we had a little bit of a break, so I literally just apologized to him. Obviously, we're in a place where he's going to understand where I'm coming from. By
Yeah,
by
yeah.
bringing that up and apologizing, and
Yeah,
we squashed it right there, and
awesome.
it was kind of cool just to see. I didn't need to do all those things and hold on to that. I could
Yeah.
just be done with it
Yeah.
right then and there, but it also helped me discover that is how I act. And
Yeah.
Jason was sitting right next to me too.
Okay.
He kind of experienced this and saw that kind of interaction.
Yeah, we got the whole picture of it. Sitting there, something happens, unfulfilled expectation. Or, we could go to almost all of them. Then, you're not being powerful, you're not even present anymore, and then you're forceful.
Right.
No power, just force, and not being present. Upset. Perfect, thank you. Alright, so every upset has 3 elements to it. And usually one element stands out as the most significant. Now when you look at your upsets from this view, you will see something amazing. The source of all of your upsets is located with you. When you look at upsets from this view, you will see they are all located with you. You are the source, and you are the one with the thwarted intention. You are the source, and you are the one with the unfulfilled expectation. You are the source, and you are the one with the undelivered communication. And to come from being at the source of your own upsets goes against common sense. This is that counterintuitive. Yeah, I'll say it again. But this is the counterintuitive that I'm speaking about. Like, no, it really doesn't occur like it is with them. That guy kept his mouth shut. Didn't call me out. Probably didn't say didn't upset me like that, but some other words. So, to come from being at the source of your own upsets goes against common sense. Our common sense tells us that there is always someone or something outside of us making us upset. Try on that you make yourself upset. Now, why is it that thwarted intentions, unfulfilled expectations, and undelivered communications make you upset? Try on that thwarted intentions, unfulfilled expectations, and undelivered communications make you upset because they remind you of a time in the past when you were upset. Yeah?
So what about the original upset? Like when you were upset about it the first time, and there was nothing in the past to remind you of that upset?
I know where you're going with it. I just don't think it's going to give you any value.
Okay.
Because sure, we could say that it was when mommy didn't give me milk, or I was hungry, I couldn't find the boob.
I guess I'm wondering if there's some sort of like file. Maybe that's it.
I mean, really, I've got an year and a half. I'm watching the upsets. She just doesn't have the language for it yet, or the occurring world that's now going to give her a new set of upsets. So I got it. It's not going to provide anything in what you're dealing with here. Yeah. So the secret to living an upset-free life is that you get that you are never upset about what you think you're upset about. What you are upset about is never actually happening right now. People don't even know that they're upset about something other than what's going on right now, and they don't know that they don't know it. When you are upset, we are actually reliving an incident from our past when we were upset. When we react to what is happening now as if it is happening now, then we become upset. And there is no upset in what's happening. All upset is a function of some story about what happened in the past. And that story from the past is triggered by thwarted intentions, unfulfilled expectations, and undelivered communications. I can say I'm upset about that phone ringing in the middle of me talking. And it started ringing about 7 seconds ago. It happened in the past. And it reminds me of some time, maybe when I was 5 years old, when I didn't get what I want, or somebody talked over me. It's all in the past. It has nothing to do. That cell phone did nothing. I made myself upset for a moment. Yeah? Stand up.
So, like, I get it, but I'm also wondering if, for instance, that would be like a thwarted intention, right? Like maybe your intention is to look a certain way while you're speaking,
Yeah.
and the phone rings and now you look that way. So that's not
Yeah.
necessarily in the past, like right now.
No, my upset is from something that happened the second the phone rang.
Yeah. That's kind of what I mean. It's like I have a hard time. I have bad memory, right? So like past is fuzzy for me anyways, and so everything for me is occurring here and now.
Totally occurring now. Now, what I could get responsible for, and took me a split second to get over it, but what happened was the cell phone rang. Now it's been like 30 seconds. That's when it happened.
Yeah.
And the cell phone rang.
I guess what I'm asking is, does it matter if the value of this, of whether or not we can identify some point in the past where we were upset once?
No. Like, oh, I'm upset. Do I need to be upset? Cell phone rang. Is it impacting me now? I could make it impact me now.
Oh, I see. Sorry, I thought you were meaning like back when I was 5, I was upset about something, and now.
Oh, yeah. No, you could kind of take the case that every upset, you're just an upset 5-year-old.
That was an important distinction, because I was
Yeah.
kind of there too.
Yeah,
So
yeah, thank
now is
you.
gone, now is in the past.
Yeah.
When I said now, 5 seconds ago is in the past.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
The delay between you thinking something has happened
Right.
and the time when it actually happened, it
Yeah.
can be a half a second, it can be 30 seconds, 40 years.
Yeah.
There's a time space
yeah,
before your brain can't realize it as the phone is ringing
Yeah.
that you're upset. You have to tell yourself a story first.
yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, Monica?
But
Stand up, please.
also though, aren't some of our upsets like subconscious, like we don't have to remember when or what, but it still
Yeah.
could be, it is related to the past.
Yeah. It's all, you can just stand in, it's all the past. And if it helps you get sourceful with something, like there really is a, like the act that, man, my memory's fuzzy too. All that week. All of it. Yeah, so a human being, but, you could get power in starting to distinguish an upset. You're like, oh, okay, this is me not getting what I want. No wonder my ways of being and acting have been consistent with me being a little brat. Like, no wonder I was so rude to that person. Or acted the way that I did, or got forceful. That's how I would talk to mommy and daddy, trying to get what I want. Okay, cool. Now I could actually maybe get to the source of a way to clean up with somebody. Like, I'm so sorry I was being bratty with you. If you want to. But for now, it's just identifying the upset, getting moment by moment by moment, taking the case, you're probably upset about something. Now that you can get that, okay, you get upset, great. There is no upset in what is happening. Cell phone rang now a minute and a half ago. I could be upset now. It's not happening. There is no cell phone ringing, or even if it's still ringing, I was probably upset from when it started ringing, or they got upset because it's been ringing for 40 seconds, or whatever the case. But it all happened in the past. But I've acted like it's actually happening, not acted. It's that it occurs like it's really happening now. And there is no upset in what's happening. All upset is a function of some story about what happened in the past. And that story has been triggered by your thwarted intentions, unfulfilled expectations, and undelivered communications. And when you get that, you get that you are at cause in the matter of your upset. You are at cause in the matter of your upset. Therefore, you could be cause in the matter of dismantling your upset. So if you look at this, so let's actually get somebody up here for, you've got something that you're upset about. Yeah, Jeff? Of course, let's mix it up.
It's almost dropping the, oh, you are, you just fix it.
Thank you.
It was like that.
Scared, Jeff? Yeah, so what's the upset?
So the commitment I have to my wife is to be focused on her only as my faithful companion, and my past was not completely like that. And so, go into whatever.
Well, what are you upset
Yeah,
about?
so the other night, I started a new job, and
Just jump right to it.
I know,
Like,
I
I'm
am.
upset because
I'm upset because on the job, there's a attractive female who sits next to me.
Yeah.
And I woke up in a panic attack a couple nights later, and I realized that I found her attractive. And it was a thwarted expectation or whatever, because my commitment was, this
So
is-
you're upset with yourself for finding this woman
Yes,
attractive?
that's right, when my
Okay.
vow was,
Perfect.
right.
Okay, perfect. I'm upset because I find this woman attractive. And I shouldn't, is
Right.
how it occurs. Okay, now looking at your upset, can you see it's a thwarted intention, an unfulfilled expectation, or an undelivered communication?
I think it's the first two. Mainly it's a thwarted intention, because my intention is to only have, this vow and commitment to my wife. But the other is the expectation of myself,
Yeah,
that's all,
yeah,
right.
yeah, I shouldn't be doing this.
Right.
Yeah, good. And this is for all of you. You gotta get an upset here. Look, what am I upset about? Maybe I'm upset about nothing. Spencer's saying I'm upset about something. What an arrogant jerk. I'm upset about him now. Good, do that one. And then looking at the upset, is it a thwarted intention, an unfulfilled expectation, or an undelivered communication? Or you could see some combination, but you can see that one is like the heightened one. Now the next part of dismantling an upset is to identify what you're really upset about. And we're asserting that you are never really upset by what's happening in the present. Consider that what you're upset about in the present is only an unwitting reminder of something from your past. You alluded to it. So what was the similar upset? It was that you've been unfaithful, or somebody else has been
I have.
that you have?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Triggers. Boom. Shouldn't be happening. Shouldn't be happening. I had a prompt, and it was probably, whatever you said, but you had said something to yourself that I will never do that again. And oh no.
Look, there I go again.
Here I go. Yeah. Now, the next.
And it was,
Yeah.
it was like a panic attack. All the things you said, loss of power,
Yeah.
right? Imagine threat,
Yeah.
all the things I stand to lose.
This is a threat to who you
Yes.
are. And you gotta appreciate Jeff for bringing this up and being vulnerable with us.
Yep.
Like, this is smack dab on the court. Here we are, life as lived, sitting next to a woman that I find attractive. And this should not be happening. Like, it should not be happening. I've done this before, it should not be happening. And it is a threat to who you are. The man you are for yourself is threatened here. Because of what if? What if? So now we got to look at what's happening right now. Like, what's really happening right now? And what's happening right now?
Right now, or when I had that panic attack?
Right now?
Nothing. No threat is on me right now.
Well, then nothing. You're upset about something that happened in the past that actually reminds you of something else that happened in the past. There's nothing happening right now. Now, we could also say what's happening is I currently have a job with a woman that I've had some feelings, some body sensations about, or some thoughts about, you know, and whatever. Thoughts. And what else?
So I want to ask you kind of the way I got out of this the next day. I don't know if it's a good and sustainable way, so I want to ask you.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was crucifying myself for,
Yeah.
and so I,
So you're not upset about this anymore?
well, obviously I'm
Okay.
nervous about it, but
Yeah.
I feel like I've moved past it, but I don't know if it's a sustainable way of moving past it. You know?
Well, okay, we're not even gonna get into that
Okay.
because the fact that you raised your hand and that it was even there for you is an implication that it's there for you.
Right, well, I'm
You know.
afraid that the solution isn't gonna hold.
Totally. No, not at all the way that you dealt with it. Not as a problem, but that's kind of what we do. We're like, no, I'm over it now. Woman's just a jerk, you know, or I'm over this. My boss is just that way, you know, or it's like we get bought off on certain things. Or like Jason graciously said, you know, he just started like, well, I'm okay with that. You know, my mom really is great with these aspects, but not here. We get bought off on stuff. Versus here, really looking at it newly from this technology. Woman reminds you of something, you know, of what you've done in the past. And you got triggered. Oh no, it should not be happening. This is a threat to who I am. Now what's happening in the past is I've got a job, work with a woman that I've had thoughts and feelings about, you know, or whatever we want to say about feelings, but that I find attractive. And also right now as I'm standing on a microphone and there's no threat to who I am as a man. But that's what's happening. Now what you want to get to start to dismantle this is really looking at what's happening. And what's happening is you've had thoughts in whatever body sensations and memories and all of that are happening, and you're making a decision about it, making stories like there's something wrong about it. But you can get that now. You are cause in the matter of that this happened. And you can get that you are cause in the matter of that you are the one that has these body sensations.
Yeah.
Or these thoughts, or these memories. It's all you.
Right,
It's not even happening in reality.
right.
Like, are you sleeping with this woman?
No.
No.
And I don't think she's like doing anything. I think it's all just.
Yeah, she's just a gorgeous woman sitting there. And you're having manly sensations. Or not even manly, you're having a freaking human sensation about a good-looking person. As if you gotta be some kind of robot. They're like, gorgeous woman? Nope. Like, it would be absurd. If I think that my wife is not attracted to any other men on the planet, I am freaking lying to myself. Now, I just happen to have 100% trust that nothing would ever happen. And then if she broke my trust, okay, something happened. Now what? Cool, I'll deal with what happened. I'll deal with the heartbreak. I'll cry. I'll get upset. I'll make her wrong. I'll do whatever, but I'll deal with it because I've got the power of this work. You're making yourself wrong over some fantasy of, I should not be having any thoughts about this gorgeous woman. You know, and why I'm highlighting this is because it's just so profound. It's just so perfect on the court of how absurd we get as human beings. You know, and you could even take the case, because the next thing we're going to create in a moment is creating the possibility of being fearless. And I really had to look at this because we're not talking about courage, where courage is where there's fear and you act anyway. That's awesome. And I had to deal with it preparing for this session of, why don't we just create courage? That's so much better because we're going to have these body sensations, we're going to have these feelings, we're going to have these thoughts, just like people have shared. It took something to have these calls. I had fear of not crying in front of my parents because it's 9:30 a.m. and I'm working. Okay? But when I'm talking about being fearless, and I'm alluding to this just in the presence of where we could get these thoughts and these body sensations, when we could get out here dealing with what's so, and out here with what's so, there's these thoughts that you're calling whatever. I find this woman attractive.